Okay, I don't see any questions. Also, I'd like to take the time out to thank Region 4 for also being on the call. They are partnering with us to make sure that we bring you all the best training, the best WebSCM training experience that you'll have. They have actually already have gone through the pilot training, so they are the experts and will be assisting us. This morning we have Chris Knorr. She's on. She has her camera on. She's waving to you all. Chris, I believe you're the only one on this morning from Region 4.
Katie is joining as well.
Okay, yeah, so you'll be seeing some other consultants on. So just be on the lookout for them. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so this training, you all should have access to this training by utilizing our live binder that has been provided for you all or will be provided for you all in the chat. And there is a password associated with this live binder. So once you go into live binder, you will see this particular PDF PowerPoint for you to reference back. So you can follow along if you would like, or you can just follow along on my screen and look back to it later. So this morning, we're going to go over food distribution program. And this is a foundations course, as I stated earlier, and it's going to be over USDA entitlement. And this is our acknowledgement statement. So if you've been to any of our training or attended any of our trainings, you are aware of this statement. So you understand and acknowledge that the training you are about to take does not cover the entire scope of the program and that you are responsible for knowing and understanding all handbooks, manuals, alerts, notices, guidance, as well as any forms of communication that provide further guidance, clarification, or instruction on operating the program. So as good as we are, we're not perfect, and there may be something that we are not able to communicate to you all entirely. So it is your responsibility as well to make sure that you follow up. Okay, so now the participation part. So what is a percentage of USDA entitlement that is contributed towards your average daily menu? So you all that use USDA foods, what percentage of entitlement is used daily towards your menu? You can put it in the chat, or if you would like to come off, unmute, you're more than welcome to do that. So we have 25 to 30%. What else? Oh, 40 to 50%. Okay. That's a larger district, Linda, with the ISD. Okay, 19%. $40 to 50%. Okay. All right, great. Okay, so as you all can see, a lot of your entitlement is used towards your daily menu, which is a great thing, right? So just a breakdown. So in the school year 22-23 in Texas alone, over $256 million were used for entitlement. And so that's an average daily menu of 15 to 20% of USDA foods. That's a lot when you think about as a whole. That's a lot of entitlement that has been used. And just remember, entitlement frees up money for commercial purchases. So if the more entitlement that you're using, the more money that you have to use in other places. Okay, so this is going to be our course outline for today. So of course, we'll go over introduction. We'll talk about some objectives, some terms and definitions. We'll talk more about USDA entitlement foods and the availability and the benefits. We'll go into entitlement calculations, so allocation, lunches served, rate of assistance, and other costs. We'll also discuss tracking, monitoring, tracking FDP entitlement and inventory for optimal use. and maximizing entitlement. So we'll look at cost analysis, your discounts, and bonuses. So our course objectives. So by the end of this course, you all will be able to identify a variety of entitlement foods available, including each category's purpose and benefits. You'll be able to understand entitlement eligibility calculation methods and USDA entitlement foods out-of-pocket associated costs. Understand RA, which we'll get to that term in just a moment. Understand RA entitlement related responsibilities, including tracking, entitlement, and inventory of USDA foods. Understand and use strategies that maximize entitlement dollars. So make sure you get more bang for your buck. All right, so with this new system, there are some terms and definitions that you all will need to make sure that you're familiar with. So the first one, entitlement, which a lot of you are already familiar with, amount of funds available to the recipient agencies for requesting USDA foods. So recipient agencies, you all are known by TDA as CEs. You've heard that term CEs, contracting entities. Well, under WBSCM, which is a USDA program, you will be known as recipient agencies, so RA. That's a term that you'll need to make sure that you're familiar with. And then entitlement, so it's also known as entitlement dollars, plan assistant level dollars, so PAL, which is what you all have commonly heard, or commodity dollars. Commodity rate of assistance. So this is the value of donated food assistance given to states for each lunch served in NSOP. So I'm sure a lot of you wonder, so how is my entitlement, how is it calculated? So entitlement is calculated using the commodity rate of assistance multiplied by the number of lunches served in the previous school year for NSLP. And then allocation, so how is it allocated? USDA foods or USDA entitlement foods requested by RA and assigned to the RA for delivery by the contracted warehouse. So the amount, again, is based on total reimbursable lunches served from the previous school year. And if at any time, if you all have any questions, you can put those in the chat. And we have a few people on here that can notify me, and we'll make sure we get those questions answered pretty well. Okay, so the high level of fulfillment process. So this is the process that your USDA foods goes through. Today, we'll only focus on this first, the green one, so the TDA, how they distribute entitlement. And you can see there are many different steps, but we'll get into that as we dive deeper into training throughout the next few weeks. So in using USDA entitlement, these are 4 essential things that you'll need to make sure that you know in order to make sure that you're getting the best benefit out of entitlement. So you need to know available USDA foods or entitlement foods that are available. Also, distribution, your calculations and other costs. So are you paying for storage? How long is it going to be in storage? Entitlement tracking. So when is the entitlement going to be allocated to you? And 5 ways to maximize your entitlement. And so we'll dive deeper into these in just a moment. Okay, so some other terminology changes. So prior to 2023, a lot of you are familiar with this term, regular, so brown box. Well, now moving forward, you'll need to make sure that you're updated with the terminology. It will now be known as direct delivery. Also, another change is farm to school. So that will now be known as local grown. Please make sure that you are aware of these terminology changes. Okay, so USDA foods. So we'll go through the different USDA foods available and the benefits. So these are the 4 different programs. So we have direct delivery, also formerly known as brown box, processing diversion, DOD Fresh, and Local Grown, which is formerly known as Farm to School. So let's go ahead and dive deeper into those four. So direct delivery, also known as brown box. So about this program, so this particular program includes a variety of fresh fruits and vegetables, meats, cheese, whole grain products. And a lot of the products do come from Texas companies, which is a great benefit. A lot of these products are already in a finished state and they're ready to serve. So that's also great, which reduces your preparation time and your labor. And as far as making your requests, you're going to make your requests for direct delivery in WBSCM, which is our new USDA web supply chain management system. How many of you use direct delivery currently? You, Dennison, Tracy, Prosper, Dallas ISD, Curtis, Maypearl. Okay. So quite a few of you. Great. All right, so let's go on to our processing, so diversion of USDA foods. So under this particular program, these are raw materials that are sent to a processing facility, and then it turns into an end product. So an example of that would be like apples, and then you make applesauce, right? And so these facilities, they have to be TDA approved processors. So you can't just say, oh, hey, my neighbor down the street, they're a farmer and they're able to make, they grow apples and they want to make applesauce for us. Well, you can't just do that. It has to be a TDA approved processor. Now, the benefit of this program, it can be more cost efficient than procuring your commercially processed items. So you can get a bigger discount. So you have processor discounts and you're able to subtract that cost, subtract value of USDA foods. And again, this reduces your preparation time and labor. And you'll also make this request in WBSCM. DOD Fresh, so this is another popular program. So DOD includes a variety of fresh fruits and vegetables. Now this program, you must opt in to participate. So a lot of you, I'm sure in the last few weeks have received an email from TDA regarding a job form for your opt-in. Please make sure if you want to benefit from this program that you complete that form. There will be more information to come regarding this program, but please make sure that job form is completed. The benefit of this program is that the fresh fruits and vegetables, that they're higher quality standard, they have to meet a high quality standard. And also there's a variety. So some of them may come in whole or they may come in like a different variety of pack sizes. So that's a benefit. And the request for this particular program will be completed in USDA favor system. So that is the same from previous years. For you all that are new to the program, it will be different. Well, not different, but just new for you. Okay, local grown, so formerly known as farm to school. So the great thing about this program is that 100% of the products come from Texas farmers. So we're using our local grown products. The benefits of this program, it reduces warehouse and storage and delivery fees, which is a great benefit. And it's 100% free to school. So who doesn't like free? Seen those grocery store prices. Also, there's less stops to the final location, which provides a fresher product. So it doesn't have to go through, all these different processors or hands. So it comes in its freshest state. And again, this will be ordered in favors. And the products, when you see it in WebSCM, and I'll show you a snippet of that in just a moment, you'll see that it has local grown. So you'll know that the product is a local grown product. And so here you can see, so like this cabbage, for instance, it shows that it's a local grown product versus the cabbage above. So you can see what you're purchasing that is actually locally grown. Also to note, so for those of you that previously participated in Farm to School, but not DoD Fresh, you must opt in to DoD Fresh to access your local grown. Okay, so this is a change, so please make sure again that you are completing that job form that was submitted by TDA.
Fail to detect your speaker. Please make sure.
Okay, so next we're going to talk about distribution, calculations, and other costs. So USDA entitlement allocations are USDA foods requested by recipient agencies and designated to the RA for delivery by the contracted warehouse. And so the amount is based on total reimbursable lunches served from the previous year. And that's a question that we get quite often is, okay, how are the amounts, like how are they, what are they based on? So again, they're based on your total reimbursable lunches served from the previous year. So entitlement estimate. So entitlement is issued by USDA in January to each of the states. And so those numbers are adjusted in the fall based on updates on numbers of lunches that were served. And so this is showing you all like how it's broken down. So you can see you have your commodity rate of assistance and your total lunches served. So lunches, if you all serve lunches under SFSP, they are not included when calculating the subsequent year's entitlement. It's just another breakdown with actual numbers. And also to note, entitlement does not roll over at the local level. So if for some reason you're unable to utilize your food, make sure that you communicate with TDA, or if you're in a co-op, make sure that you're communicating that with your co-op coordinators, because we want to make sure that we're able to utilize that inventory instead of it just sitting in storage. So definitely make sure that you're communicating. So associated costs and warehouse fees. So for some of you that may not have actual warehouses and you have to utilize warehouse storage, just note that it is your responsibility to track warehouse storage and delivery charges. And you definitely want to make sure that you're utilizing your entitlement dollars. So you want to make sure it's not sitting in storage too long and you're racking up all of these storage fees. Also make sure that you're using warehouse per cost rate to schedule the most efficient deliveries. And again, make sure that you're monitoring, tracking, and paying your invoices provided by a warehouse on time. So warehouse storage fees. So warehouse storage fees and dwell time periods vary based on contracted warehouse. So depending on the warehouse that you contract with, your storage fees will vary. So some of them offer free storage depending on how long. There's also a short-term storage cost and a long-term storage cost. Of course, we know the longer that it sits in storage, that's going to be more money. Okay, and so this is your associated costs and warehouse fees. This is just an example. If you go to squaremills.org, you're able to, you can pick your region and it provides more information as far as like your contract information or contact information by region, and also your warehouse rates. So if you don't know your warehouse rates, definitely encourage you to go onto squaremills.org and look at your contracted warehouse. Okay, so associated fees that have to do with processing fees. Yeah. USDA food, so you have your packing, of course, your labor, your storage, your delivery, and associated costs must be covered with cash coming out of account. Processing procurement fees, so processing USDA foods must go through procurement process. So if vendors procure processed materials for RAs, vendor fees will have to be paid for staff used to handle procurement. And so you'll have to determine which is going to be the most cost efficient option for you all. So vendors, your co-ops, etc. For all other USDA foods, USDA handles procurement on behalf of you all RAs, recipient agencies, without fees. Okay, so determining your cost effectiveness. So you have here, this example, you have chicken fajitas, and they are processed via direct delivery. So entitlement covers 100% of the product, and storage and delivery only related to the cost. So versus fajitas that are actually processed. So entitlement covers USDA unfinished raw product. So then you must pay processing fees, right, for that product. And vendor fees if you're using a vendor for procurement. And then, of course, your storage and delivery. So these are the things to look at when you're determining which is going to be most cost efficient for your district. All right, so now we have a knowledge check. So the question is, what USDA foods related costs do recipient agencies need to account for? So is it A, processing fees, B, storage fees? Fees vary based on contracted dwell times, or C, delivery fees, or D, all of the above. Which one do you all think? You can put it in the chat. All right, so D, we have D. It looks like to be the most common answer. All right, so processing fees, we'll get to the answer in just a moment, but for A, if you chose A, while recipient agencies are responsible for fees associated with processing USDA foods, there are other fees that recipient agencies must account for when calculating the out-of-pocket costs connected to the recipient of the USDA foods. So no, A was not the correct answer. B, so storage fees, again, while recipient agencies are responsible for warehouse storage fees, after the designated free storage dwell period, there are additional fees that a recipient agency must account for. Yeah, so D also is not correct. So C, delivery fees. Recipient agencies are responsible for tracking delivery fees based on product amounts to be delivered. However, there are additional fees that a recipient agency must account for. Right, so D, which was the most common answer, the correct answer, all of the above. So recipient agencies must account for processing fees, storage fees after the free storage period, and delivery fees from the warehouse to the final destination. So yes, so D was the correct answer. All right, gold star for everyone. All right, so now let's go into entitlement tracking. So tracking, processing, entitlement. So this is where you're going to manage your inventory in baked pounds in K-12 food service and processor link tracking systems. Includes but not limited to, so your list of all processors and products purchased with that processor. And then also your donated food value with USDA material number banquet processor. And you all will learn more about the material number as we get further along in the next upcoming weeks. And then also your usage by month. So these are your tracking, your warehouse invoices and inventory. Please note this change. So your transition to WBSCM includes managing inventory in warehouse and tracking systems. The tracking systems include, but not limited to, your ability to review allocations. You'll be able to review inventory available to order for your delivery to the RA, so the recipient agency. You'll be able to view and open delivery orders. And you'll also see your bill of landing and your USDA sales order numbers. So prior to 2023, you all were able to track your warehouse inventory in TXUMPS. So with this new transition to requesting foods in WBSCM, your warehouse inventory tracking will now occur using the contracted warehouse system. So WBSCM does not have the functionality to track once it's been delivered to the warehouse. So it won't be able to track that. And then as far as monitoring, you'll need to make sure that you'll be responsible for monitoring your allocation of USDA foods, products and entitlement in WBSCM. And then you'll also make sure that you're monitoring your contracts to ensure that you're receiving full credit of all USDA foods values that are received, especially for you all that have FSMCs. Also, you'll need to make sure that you're monitoring your inventory and usage at the processor through processor tracking systems. And if you all need additional assistance on that monitoring, processing your tracking systems, you can reach out to us and we'll be able to assist you. And then also another best practice is going to be that you all monitor at least once a month to make sure that you are fulfilling or that you're utilizing all of those USDA foods. Okay, so the great thing about WBSCM is going to have your real-time entitlement balance. So here you can see this is a snippet of what it will look like once you all are able to get into WBSCM. This is just a snapshot. So currently, so right now, WBSCM, of course, won't have any information for the previous years, but once you all have utilized the system, for a few years, you'll be able to look back at previous data in the WBSCM. So I know it looks like it's probably a little confusing looking right now, but of course, once we get through tracking, not tracking, through training, you all will be familiar and it all come together and make sense. So again, you'll have the real time, your requisition totals, as you can see here. So for example, like this pasta macaroni, you can see the net value and then your entitlement available and then your entitlement amount pending. Okay, so 5 ways to maximize your entitlement. Of course, we definitely want to make sure that you all are maximizing your entitlement. So let's discuss a few ways that you can do that. So creating cycle menus. So how many of you currently use a cycle menu? So quite a few of you, yes. Okay, great. Okay, and for you all that will be in training on Friday, we'll discuss more on actual menu planning. And so we'll talk more about the cycle menus. Another way of maximizing your entitlement is to make sure that you're conducting your needs analysis. So what does your RA or your CE, your district actually need? Also by looking at your food production records. And then analyzing your inventory report. So what's moving, what's not. And we'll talk more about moving through forecasting. That's going to be in our module in forecasting, I believe in 2 or 3 weeks. So we'll talk more about that. Okay, so determining cost effectiveness. So to make sure that you're getting the most out of your entitlement dollars, you can utilize a cost analysis worksheet. And so this will help you determine that you're maximizing your cost. And so here you can see, this is just a sample checklist of making sure best practices, but making sure that you're utilizing your USDA foods. And so this is a USDA cost analysis. This is an actual worksheet that you're able to use. And so this shows you like if you're using, depending on what you're using. So like, for example, here they have your regular and brown box items, and then you're able to put in, of course, your out of pocket and any additional cost, and it shows you like how much you're saving. So you'll be able to enter your USDA foods and your out of cost pockets. But again, brown box WebSCM is referred to as direct delivery. So make sure you're updated on that terminology. And then here, so it does a breakdown basically. So it's going to show you like the commercial equivalent. So you'll enter how much it costs, like if you were to buy that product commercially. And so then you'll be able to see your cost, your savings, actual savings. Okay, so continuing to maximize your entitlement. So make sure that you have backup plans ready. So you know, sometimes products may not come in as they're supposed to, you know, depending on the weather or like if there's a drought or anything, you know, any nature happens. You want to make sure that you have a backup and that you account for having to procure commercially. So if you're not able to get those foods, that you're able to still procure commercially. Request foods with multiple use. So definitely want to make sure that you're utilizing the foods in more than one way. Keep lead time in mind. So what are your manufacturers? What are the lead times? And then how much notice do your warehouses require? And then what are the par levels? So you want to make sure that you have to know those par levels that the distributor has set up. So processing discount. So processors are required to return full value of USDA food contained in finished end products. So TDA does allow one of the following value pass-through options. So net off invoice, which is discounting the normal commercial price of a product, and then refund. So they're able to actually pay a refund to the school. And then fee for service. So this is actually when charging a fee for service is then converted for using the USDA foods. The most popular one is actually the net off invoices. And so you all RAs, you don't have to predetermine which method you're going to use. But net off invoice is the most popular. And then, of course, utilizing bonus entitlement. So towards the end of the year, you'll get emails from TDA saying, hey, we have these bonus items available. Can any of you utilize them? So you definitely want to make sure that if you're able to utilize bonus items, that you use them. Because of course, then you don't have to spend much of your other dollars. You can use your USDA funds. So RAs may request as many bonus foods as it can use without waste. So don't just try to, stack up those bonus items and you know that you're not going to utilize them. Please only use them or request them if you know that you're able to utilize them. So TDA will notify eligible recipient agencies when bonus foods become available. So please be on the lookout for those. And then you're not charged against the RA food entitlement amount. So it doesn't count against you or you're not charged for that. Okay, so this is your year at a glance. So this is basically your calendar of events that happen throughout the school year that you'll need to make sure that you're aware of. So in January, you'll make sure that you are preparing, of course, for your new program year to begin. And the catalogs will open in USDA's WBSCM for you all to actually start placing requests for foods for next year. Now, please note this change. Contract packets will no longer be required for you all using WBSCM. And you'll also want to make sure that you mark yes to USDA foods question in SMP application to opt in. So when you all start completing your application, please make sure that you are marking yes to USDA foods question. And then in February, your DoD fresh entitlement allocations are distributed. And then March, annual processing and catalogs close in WBSCM. Also, please note, so this year there will not be a farm to school survey with the WBSCM transition. So those that are not in the pilot, which is you all, will continue to do so until statewide launch in 2024. And TDA will communicate if there's any changes to the timelines as they occur. So Melinda, I know you asked, when do we opt in for DoD? Which is I'll go ahead and answer that one on, so you all should have received a JOT form from TDA. And we also sent it out. I'm not sure if you're on our listserv, but we'll make note to reach out to you. So more than likely, whoever is listed on your application in TXUMP has received that email. Okay. So then in June, this is when your warehouse and delivery and storage costs are updated on Square Mills. So if you all ever need to know your delivery and storage costs, you're able to go on Square Mills and go to the contracted warehouse page under National School Lunch Program, and you'll be able to see those costs. And then in July, this is when USDA announces official or published commodity rate of assistance for the next school year. So you can look out for that in July. And then you'll also be notified. So if you have lost or gained entitlement, this is when you'll know. So again, just recapping, these are the 4 essential things to know about USDA entitlement. So of course, the availability of USDA entitlement foods, and your distribution calculations and other costs, and then actually tracking. So what are your entitlement tracking? And then you can look back over, but the 5 ways to make sure that you're maximizing your entitlement. I know that was quite a bit, but do we have any questions? Again, for some of you that may have that came on a little bit later, this training and then Friday's training are prereqs to WebSCM. So we'll actually be diving into WebSCM the week after next. We'll actually go into WebSCM and start training in that system. Any questions? Stephanie, do you have a question? Yes, so she said it's confusing. So we know with anything new, any change, there sometimes can be confusion. I think, well, I know once you all actually get into the system, it will definitely all come together and it will make a lot more sense. It's actually a great system. We actually had an opportunity last year to go through the same training that you all would be going through, and it's a great system. I really think that you all will like it once you're able to get in there and utilize the system. Okay, so Friday we will be having, it's going to be menu planning or meal planning. And we will send out the schedule again, as Tamika indicated. But we did send out all of our training. So Langford, I'm not sure what your first name or what district you're from. Oh, Tom Bean. Okay, so we'll reach out to you personally. But yes, the trainings will be recorded. Maria, did you have a question?
I did want to say that I did try to register for the other trainings, but it was still popping as this one. Like it wouldn't let me do all of them. So I don't know if is that in air?
I'll get with our admin assistant and find out.
Okay.
Maria, we can reach out to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and so before you all leave, this is if you scan this QR code, this is the WebSCM transition page. So please make sure that you scan the QR code and visit this page. This has information about the WebSCM transition. You'll also be able to find like additional training, like small segments, and also the material that we'll go over will be on this page. Okay, so great question, Ms. Rhonda. You said, will FSMC employees have access to the WebSCM system? No, they will not. So you all, only district employees will have access. Great questions. Any other questions? Please, if you have any additional questions or you need to reach out to us individually, you're more than welcome to do that. This is our team. We now have a complete team. So our newest consultant, Bridget Cinema Tisdale, she's a former director from Cotto Mills. She has joined our team, and any of us are available to assist you all. So if you want to take a snippet or a quick picture of our contact information, please reach out to us. We'll be able to assist you. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions. All right, well, you all have a great day. We'll hang on for a little bit longer in case anyone does have questions. But if you don't have any, you are free to go.